And she's still not sorry. Watch.
The Jessel situation.
Right.
Watching it all play out, do you see any of it differently?
No.
Okay.
Because I lived it. So what people are seeing is not necessarily all of what they know.
Nuances are missing.
Exactly. So, no, I don't see it differently.
I seriously am like so over this mean girl and it is mean girl
She labels you and Aaron mean girls because of all this. How do you feel about that label?
I'm definitely not a mean girl. I think that there should not be any confusion to being honest / mean. I think when people hear honesty, it really does hurt their feelings at the end of the day, and it could come off in a way where I am being mean, but I'm definitely not a mean girl. Not one bit. I'm just a very honest person. I'm a girl's girl. She knows that.
Houseway. Hey y'all, it's your captain for all things creative, coming back at you with the Real Housewives of New York, episode 13. Quick review and thoughts. If you are new to the channel, welcome. Please like, subscribe, share, all of that. If you're returning, thank you so much for rocking with us. And let's get into the episode. If you remember correctly, Brand had COVID last week, and she still has COVID. And we get a rare shot of her inside of her apartment in quarantine, talking with her brother on the phone. I wasn't aware that she was allowed to film in her apartment. I thought that there was some kind of restrictions with her co-op, but hey, it happened. Unless she was quarantining somewhere else, it was a very cool and rare shot because you usually see her out and about. Next, Sai calls Aaron to talk mess about Jessel as usual. And as you saw in the intro, she's still doing interviews talking about how she's not sorry and she's not a mean girl. But from the call, they were being very mean, making fun of Jessel's night with Pavitt and doubting if they did the deed, and it was a mess. Next, you see Jenna and Jessel meet up. Jenna hears from Jessel about the lunch that she had with Sai, and she basically tells Jessel that she's probably seeking acceptance from Sai, and people tend to want acceptance from the places they're really not going to get it, or it's hard to get it from. And it seems like Jenna's taking Sai for some strange reason, because I guess Aaron and her were trying to get back on the right foot, so maybe Aaron's been in her ear. But she's basically saying that for Sai, her mom's her mom, so comparing Uncle to that is not gonna be something that gets Jessel very far. But Jessel's not the one comparing. She literally just, talks about her life. And like she said in the episode, for someone to take offense at her sharing when they asked her to share, it was just all very weird. Next you see Uba working. She's modeling. She's not just working, she's like work. She got, all the makeup looking gorgeous, the outfits looking gorgeous, and she's bragging about how she had all these Valentines, and she's only gonna choose one like midnight on the 13th, which is really funny. And then whatchamacallit, you also see her in this episode working with different chefs to do food collabs for Uba Hot. That was another thing that was really cool. Later on the episode, you also see Sai cooking, one of her family members, and she gives an art book of her mom's pieces that her husband helped her put together. And it's, a little bit of a touching moment. And of course, Sai's hungry, waiting for the food. If her scenes aren't about food, they're about her complaining about Jessel. It's like a pattern now. All right, next scene, Jenna and her son Beckett are shopping. And this one was heartwarming because she says she knows her mom didn't like her, which was sad to hear. But she said, with Beckett, it's like she gets a do-over of what she didn't have with her mom. Next, we see kind of like a triple date plus Uba with Erin and her husband, Sai and her husband, and Jessel and her husband, and then Uba comes late. And Erin tries to order a lot of guacamole and stuff at first because she don't want nobody to complain. But then Sai walks in and says that she actually ate before she came for the first time. So I guess she's finally learning her lesson that, if she's a pescatarian, she can't expect to have, her special restrictive diet everywhere. And Sai says that, she had to talk with Jessel, and Erin and her are, you know, talking about Jessel again as usual. And then Sai basically says again that she doesn't care about, you know, Jessel. But then as soon as Erin and her husbands come over, they task their husbands, Dave and Abe, with finding out from Pavitt if the two really did have sex. So they're still doubting Jessel's story. Next, in her confessional, this is really funny. Jessel says that Sai doesn't like her, or maybe Sai doesn't like her, sorry, because she dresses better than her, which was a good read because, Sai's into fashion and influencing, but Jessel's also very stylish, so this shows that, Jessel's not taking the bully line down. She's, getting her jabs in, I guess, in this war of her versus the mean girls. And at the end of the day, I do want Jessel to take her power back because, um, as you see, they're just relentless with this stuff. So Pavitt starts talking about his mileage run, and he says he got 3 tickets at a very discounted price. And the way mileage runs work is exactly how he described. You get like the cheapest tickets to go the farthest. And I think his tickets were like either $500 or $900, and they're usually, he said, $18,000 or $20,000, so they were super discounted. And everybody's still questioning him, but then the men go off and play golf, and they're at this place called Swingers, which I think is very tongue-in-cheek considering Abe's confession last week that he wants him and Aaron to swing in 10 years. So while the men are going golfing, and maybe Sai follows them, maybe to go to the restroom, I don't know, but Aaron and Jessel are alone, and they talk a little bit, and then Sai jumps in because they are talking about the lunch and her. And then Sai tells Jessel that she was offended when Jessel was telling her about her uncle, which is going very far because it's like she feels entitled to be the only one to have any sad story. It's like so hard to watch. But she also proves that she wasn't listening to Jessel about Vietnam because she tells Jessel, you lie all the time, and you lied because you told me that just last week, I guess, that Pavitt was going to Vietnam next week, but thank God production does the flashback, and Jessel does not say that. Jessel said he's going in a couple of weeks, when the tickets open up, and she's saying the same thing now, but Sai, as always, tells Jessel that she doesn't care when Jessel tries to defend herself, and Jessel just calls her out and say, hey, this is mean girl stuff. Every time I try to talk to you, it goes nowhere. And she says, you and your pet parrot, referring to Erin, make everything a problem. And Erin, even though she has been whispering and it co-instigating all this problem that they're having, Erin starts acting innocent. She's like, well, I'm just, on the side here. And then Uba has shown up at this point, but she doesn't jump in because she's eating, and she's just settling in. And then basically Sai blows up at Jessel and walks away saying that she's over Jessel, and she calls her the B word. She calls her a whole female dog. And Jessel calls Sai a diva in return, but it's just a mess. Next thing you know, in her confessional, Jessel threatens that Sai hasn't seen a bee yet since she's been very PC so far. So again, Jessel's showing that she's gonna keep standing up for herself, which is good because you don't want to, be a doormat. You don't want people to feel like they can say anything to you or treat you any kind of way. So, just the fact that Jessel named, that it was mean girl behavior is very important because in a lot of ways, naming power and, being able to identify things and call it out for what it is a great way to heal. It's a great way, to move forward. And now that it's out in the open, Jessel can, hold them accountable. They can't say that they don't know what they're doing now that she's, pointed out what she thinks is going on. So next, Sai confronts Pavid about Vietnam, even though she just said she didn't care. And she comes back to Aaron talking mess about how Pavid doesn't even know that Jessel's lying about his vacation, which is just like, again, so strange because she cares so much about their vacation. She's all in their business. But to Jessel's face, she act like she don't care. So again, everybody could talk about Jessel and Pavid except Jessel and Pavid. It's too much. Um, then later on, Dave or Sai's husband asks Uba about, single life. And Uba then turns it around and asks the men what made them marry their wives. And the men all give good answers, but of course for Aaron and Sai, Jessel's husband answer wasn't good enough, and they're making fun of Papa's answer, saying that he could do what he want. But like Uba said on Watch What Happens Live, he was more saying like, I get to be myself, I get to pursue my likes, and Jessel accepts me and accepts them, so it was more of a positive thing. But they try to paint it as negative, like they try to paint everything about Jessel as negative. And then Uba shows Sai her phone and tells Sai to keep the guy a secret, which I think might play out in the next episode. Next and last scene is Jessel's house, and Brynn and Jenna show up. Jenna corrects Jessel about a little fashion moment because I guess Jessel calls what she's wearing a tartan, and Jenna's like, this is not a tartan. And Jessel corrects herself like, oh yeah, it's pinstripe. So that was a cute little fashion moment. And then Brynn invites all the ladies to her birthday party, which is the season finale next week. And then she makes an Abe joke too, which is showing that she didn't learn her lesson either about being flirty. But since we haven't seen her in a while, it was a little bit funny. And then next major thing that happens in the conversation is Pavic calls Sai bipolar, but the ladies correct him and stop him, which is good because, you don't want to add to the stigmas about mental illness or, use these titles and diagnoses frivolously, so just the fact that, they corrected him and he retracted it and he clarified how he felt that size, just two-faced in a lot of ways. Like she's seemingly chill at one point, but then she's in attack mode and she thinks Jessel's lying about everything. So he cleared up his feelings. And again, I'm glad the ladies rather, stopped him from, adding to stigmas about mental health. And then Jessel ends up crying when she's talking about, how mean Sai and Aaron and everybody have been to her. And Bryn basically tells Jessel, she's got to stand up for herself more. And Jessel's like, well, I did stand up for myself. And Bryn's like, no, you have to finish it the next time Sai starts with you. And Bryn says her confessional, the minute you tell Sai, mind your effing business, then Sai would have more respect and probably invite Jessel out. But I don't think them two need to be going out together. But I do agree with Bryn that, demanding respect, standing up for herself, it is well worth it. And Jessel has kind of been standing up for herself, but I think, like she said, they haven't really seen the other side of her yet. So words, I think Jessel was the best. She gets the Queen Award. For me, just the fact that she's, enduring all these onslaughts and still keeping her head up, still, again, able to have a clear head and name things and call them out, speak the truth to power. It's all good signs that, she's going to be a force to be reckoned with. I think she's coming into her own as a housewife. The person who my heart went out to would have to be Jenna. Because again, just that line when she was saying her mom didn't like her, she felt like her mom didn't like her growing up, made me sad. But seeing her be such a good and loving mom to her son and, feeling like she got a do over is very touching, especially because I'm a mom. So shout out to Jenna and Beckett. Who was being a little naughty this episode. I would say Brit, because Brit was carrying bones in terms of telling Jessel every kind of side comment that Aaron and Sai had been making about her, especially when she brought up how Aaron was talking about Pavitt not wearing his ring. And then Pavitt actually explained that he had lost his ring and he never wears a ring. It's like normal for the two of them because he lost their ring 2 days after, I guess, they got married. But they both never replaced it. So they trust each other. They have a mutual understanding that it's not on purpose, which, as a married person, again, I would have replaced my ring personally, but it's clear that the two trust each other and they both know the circumstances of it. And like Bryn said herself, it's nobody's business. So I just thought that Bryn being the voice of Aaron when Aaron and Simon went there to speak for themselves was a little bit naughty, but I'm sure that they were saying all those mean things, so I'm not doubting what she's saying, but she definitely added fuel to the fire. And I do feel bad that she missed a lot of the episode because she was sick with COVID. But when she came back, making those flirtatious kind of jokes about Abe, I was like, all right, Bryn's back. And she got to stop flirting with Aaron's husband and making the Abe jokes because Aaron might be well within her rights to raise another issue about it. And who's in timeout? Obviously, the dynamic duo, Aaron and Sai, from their phone calls, bashing Jessel, and the restaurant talking about Jessel. They're really, really making it, I think, a hostile work environment for Jessica because she's trying to, do the housewife trips, the housewife lunches, all this stuff. But at every turn, these girls are acting like they want to know more about Jessica, but really they're using anything as ammo to tear her down. Like they have ran with this one revelation about the lack of sex in Jessel's marriage. And even though Jessel has done the deed and had relations with her husband, they're still trying to hold on to the narrative that, her and her husband don't like each other and they not have relations. And they're saying she's lying about her past. It's all old. And the fact that Sai's still not sorry up to like, a couple days ago in the press, just saying that she is still having these feelings about Jessel even after seeing herself on camera. I don't know what to say. I just hope people do better. And if you want a longer, more in-depth review, make sure you check out The Lean on YouTube. We have a panel discussion about RHONY at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So this was just a little quick one, but hopefully you put your opinions in the comments. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. And always remember, you're the master of your fate and the captain of your soul. Goodbye.